I'm sure some of you had heard that there was a talk today about beads or charity, and you thought, what has this got to do with TED? Sounds so boring. Well, I'm really honored to be here today to share a story that I am so excited and so proud to be part of. It's a story that starts with a small bead, but it ends up impacting a continent. It's a story about the power of connectivity and how creativity can find elegant solutions to lessen the divide between the haves and the have-nots. It's a story that is very practical, but it has abstract implications. It's a story that addresses the needs of donors. There is so much donor fatigue, and the needs of NGOs that are constantly begging for survival. And it finds a solution for both of them that benefits them all. In essence, it's a story about sustainability, about leadership, and about bringing people together. Inspired by the yellow Live Strong, Armstrong, Live Strong yellow band that we're all so familiar with, which showed us that humanity has a deep need to be connected. I thought, how amazing would it have been if that connector was handmade? Can you imagine how many people's lives would have been impacted by it? And then I thought, can you imagine if we can create a handmade something with a connector to brands, to events, to causes, and to each other? And just what if it could be used as far more than just a tool for job creation? So I want to take you on a journey through the life of one of our beaded bracelets, the United Against Malaria bracelet. It's a combination of a repetition of 8 colors closed with a United Against Malaria closing. It's not made in a factory. These bracelets are made in the townships, in informal settlements, where they uplift and upskill and give dignity and hope. And they create opportunities every part of the way. It's like this long string of beads that starts off putting food on the table for pensioners and their orphaned grandchildren and ends up impacting a continent. So we start the process by sending packs of measured beads and elastic gut into the senior clubs in the townships. And these frail old pensioners, many of them who are octogenarians, put the beads onto the elastic. They've really taught me that one can be productive at any age. And they've also shown me what the word Ubuntu really means. We always use this word Ubuntu. But however little they earn is never for themselves. They take it home, and it's for their neighbors, for their friends, for their family. They sing, and they are so excited to have been given this opportunity and this purpose and this focus to impact children who are dying from malaria. It was only last week one of the gogos said, we are so stimulated that we're even learning to count again. 2 blue, 2 green, 2 yellow. It's just amazing how something so small can give somebody such dignity. And we're seeing amazing health and social benefits as a result of it. They don't want a handout. They just want the opportunity to earn and to have a purpose. So they complete these balls. It's a long string that they've just threaded the balls. And these balls, they get transported to our younger groups in the townships. Most of these are unskilled, illiterate, single mothers. What is their chance of finding a job? So although we use this bracelet as a mechanism for them to earn, our focus is on upskilling them so that they can become more self-reliant, more employable. And part of their earnings goes towards upskilling themselves. Part of the revenue that they earn pays for compulsory English classes, and then they're assessed for whether they can, what kind of trade or interest and what their abilities are. So we have some of them that are now doing anything from learning to be a carer to learning in the health field, having driving classes, computers. The same thing applies to our packers. These are refugees from other war-torn African areas. And they are also upskilled. Through their own earnings, one of our packers is very passionate about soccer, so he's been putting himself through soccer coaching courses. Another one is really passionate about becoming a truck driver. And then the last stage, when all our beads come back every month from the townships, we have one other layer where we drop them off at sheltered employment, and intellectually challenged people sort them back into their colors for us. So what really happens to this bracelet? We then sell to corporates. And more than a third of what we receive goes to the Global Fund. And in turn, the Global Fund give us nets, mosquito nets, that the amazing humanitarian Kingsley Holgate distributes throughout Africa. Do you know that we still have a death every minute as a result of malaria? And that every year there are 655,000 deaths, 90% of which are in Africa. So we were able to raise $500,000, approximately 4 million rand, to buy nets and invest in nets for Kingsley to distribute. Isn't that amazing that we didn't have to put our hands out and ask the rest of the world to help? It was a simple beaded bracelet that was the tool and the solution for us to help our own continent. And one bracelet can result in protecting a child for up to 5 years. So this is how our bracelet really works. 8 rand goes to a cause, in this case to malaria. 2 rand we invest in enterprise development. 5 rand goes towards upskilling and earnings, and the balance, material costs, running costs, which we keep very low, and VAT or courier costs if it goes out of the country. So whether it's the red bracelet that is about awareness and creating, earning funds for the beginning of the end of AIDS, or whether it's Bono's white one bracelet, which is much more focused on poverty and famine, or whether it's the new Rotary Life Straw bracelet, which is now raising funds for life straws that get distributed throughout Africa to areas where people previously did not have access to safe drinking water, a basic human right, or whether it's the Amy Beale bracelet that is funding after-school programs in the townships. Just to name a few, each and every bracelet results in funds being raised for a cause, awareness being created of that cause, and of equal significance is what we are able to achieve in the upliftment of all the makers. So now there are many corporates that hold this whole model together. They're the glue that hold it together, and it's their support that is so important. Now, many corporates would focus on a cause and would support something like the United Against Malaria bracelet. But there's now an opportunity to use this model as a brand ambassador or a marketing tool, and for corporates to build their own brands and to build connectivity to their own brands, but at the same time to be supporting their corporate social responsibility programs or their own foundations, and again to be uplifting the makers in the process. So let me give you 2 examples. One, the Hyundai bracelet. Hyundai Germany saw a need in one of the schools in Kailicha, and they decided to sell the bracelets. They would sell them to all their dealerships for €2, and we gave the 8 rand, as we always commit to do, and within less than a year, we had raised 600,000 rand to build a school hall. We had invested 150,000 rand in skills and enterprise development and earnings. But the coolest thing of all was that people were walking around wearing these wonderful Hyundai bracelets, and the school had benefited. Another example is UniWorld. UniWorld is part of Travel Corporation, and they have very high-end river cruise lines. They committed to buying a bracelet for every guest this season. And what that meant, one order, meant that we could put R250,000 into the Amy Bill Foundation account, funding 125 kids in after-school programs for an entire year. Same amount of benefit for the makers once again. But again, people would leave the travel experience connected to other guests, connected to the experience, and connected to the UniWorld brand. I think it's time we got away from this traditional begging and just corporates giving simple donations. You know, in South Africa, it's compulsory to give a portion of your earnings to corporate social responsibility programs. And now we have the opportunity to use both together. I think that when we've got sustainability, job creation, enterprise development, skills development, and you can put it all together, and we can also earn for other non-profits, other social enterprises, and we can build brands. Then it's real, we'll see real global upliftment. Then we will see real philanthropy. As a non-profit, we say no to donations, and we say yes to bracelet orders because it creates opportunities that change lives. And we can still fund other non-profits, and we can build brands. So in conclusion, there's one thing that I've left out today. We've spoken about the corporates, we've spoken about the makers, we've spoken about the beneficiaries. But the most important thing that I've left out is you, the wearers, and the purchasers. And it's often that I meet people, and they don't know why they wear these R bracelets. Only last week I met somebody who said he got one at a conference, and he doesn't understand why he's never taken it off. It's like a wearable tattoo. Do you think it's just a cool bracelet? I think it's about the power of connectivity. I think that it's about the value of something valueless. So as you leave today with your TEDx bracelet, some of you may never take them off. Some of you may never take them off and might not know why. Maybe it'll be a connection to TEDx. Maybe it'll be a connection to an inspiring message that you heard. Maybe it's going to be a connection to each other. Whatever it is, may this be a reminder that firstly, there is a power of connectivity. Secondly, something so small can have such a big impact. And thirdly, we are all agents of social change. Thank you.